Hello everyone, the topic which we are going to discuss today is the bending of beams. Now students, what actually is a beam? Beams are the structural members which are used to support transverse load or vertical load. Suppose this is the beam and we are applying a load on it vertically. A transverse load is applied on this beam. Now what is the function of this beam? This beam will transfer this transverse load, this vertical load into horizontal, and finally this transfers into column. This is the function of the beam. Now what happens when a load is applied on a beam? As we have discussed in the previous unit of shear force and bending moment diagram. So if this is a beam and I am applying a load on it, if I cut the cross section from here and if I draw the free body diagram, it will have a shear force, an upward shear force and a bending moment. And because of this bending moment, bending stress develops, and because of the shear force, shear stress develops in the beam. So in this particular unit, we are going to discuss about the bending stresses of the beam. In further unit, we will discuss about the effect of shear force and the effect of shear stress on the beam. The very first thing is the assumptions. What are the assumptions made while deriving bending equation? The first assumption is the Euler-Bernoulli assumption. What Euler-Bernoulli assumption says that the plane cross section remains plane even after bending. If we are considering any cross section of the beam that is plane on a 2D plane, it will remain plane even after bending. That is our first assumption. Now what are the implications of this assumption? This assumption implies, if we are assuming that plane cross section remains plane even after bending, this means that there is no warping and twisting in this cross section. There are no warping and twisting in this cross section while bending. Okay, so this cross section remains plane even after bending. Okay, and what does this mean? This means that if we draw the strain distribution, this strain distribution will be linear up to failure. The strain distribution will be, this will be linear up to failure. This is the conclusion of Euler-Bernoulli assumption, that the plane cross section remains plane even after bending, and because the plane cross section is plane even after bending, that means there is no warping and twisting, and because there is no warping and twisting, therefore the strain distribution will be linear up to failure. This is the first assumption. Second assumption, the most common assumption of strength of material, that material is homogeneous, isotropic and follows Hooke's law. This is the assumption which we consider in whole of this subject. In whole subject we assume that our material is homogeneous. In this subject we consider that our material is isotropic, and we consider that the material follows Hooke's law. Follows Hooke's law means whatever principle we are going to derive, whatever formulas, whatever stresses we are going to derive in whole of this subject, those all formulas or derivatives are valid only up to elastic limit, not beyond elastic limit. Okay, so this is the second assumption. The third assumption is the beam is subjected to pure bending. This is another assumption which we take, that the beams are subjected to pure bending. What is the meaning of pure bending? Pure bending का मतलब होता है, that means there is no shear force acting in the beam. Okay, for example, if I give you the example of pure bending, suppose there is a simply supported beam, point A and B subjected to end moment. Okay, another, suppose an overhanging beam supported at A and B subjected to end loads P. Okay, another, a cantilever beam A and B subjected to end moment. In all these three figures, if I draw the shear force diagram here, shear force diagram will be a line, shear force will be 0 throughout the length, and bending moment will be maximum and constant. Getting this? Here shear force is like this, okay, and bending moment is like this. And here shear force is again a 0 line and bending moment is maximum and constant. Okay, so in all these three cases, we can see that between A and B, the shear force is 0 and bending moment is maximum and constant. Such case is known as the case of pure bending. This is the case of pure bending, in which shear force is 0 and bending moment is maximum and constant. So this is our another assumption, that we assume that the beams are subjected to pure bending. Now the question arises, why do we assume that the beams are subjected to pure bending? Because in pure bending, whatever is the elastic curve of this beam, this elastic curve is an arc of a circle. If it is subjected to pure bending, that means if shear force is not acting on the beam, then the elastic curve which we are getting is nothing but an arc of a circle. And this assumption is very important for further proof. आगे चल के जब हम प्रूफ देखेंगे तो उसमें हम एज्यूम करते हैं that it is an arc of a circle. ओके, assumptions हम लेते हैं, इसका मतलब ये नहीं होता कि ये सारी चीज़ें सच होती है. These all things we assume so as to simplify our derivation, so as to simplify our proofs. Getting this or not? Okay, so this is another assumption, that the beams are not subjected to any shear force, the beams are subjected to pure bending. This is another assumption. Now, what is the meaning of this pure bending or zero shear force? So, in order to assume that the beams are subjected to pure bending or beams are subjected to zero shear force, another assumption we take, and that assumption is every layer of the beam is free to expand and contract. Now what does this mean, और इसका pure bending से क्या relation है? Now let us see कि shear stress जो होती है किसी beam में वो आखिर होती क्यों है? Okay, let us consider a beam और उसको मैंने कुछ layers में divide कर दिया है. Okay, and now I am applying a bending moment on this beam or a load on this beam. Because of that load this beam will bend. Okay, and because क्योंकि मैंने इसको बहुत सारे layers में मैंने इसको divide करके रखा है. Okay, so every layer will freely expand like this. Every layer will freely expand. Okay, now let us assume कि मैंने जिसको लेयर में डिवाइड किया था अब मैंने इसको पूरे को ज्वाइन कर दिया है. नाउ वी आर कंसिडरिंग द सॉलिड बीम. सेम बीम को मैंने अब सारी लेयर्स को अब मैंने ज्वाइन कर दिया है. नाउ वी आर कंसिडरिंग अ सॉलिड बीम एंड नाउ अगेन आई एम अप्लाइंग अ मोमेंट ऑन इट, बेंडिंग मोमेंट. ओके, नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन इफ this is a solid beam and I am applying a load on it or a moment on it. Now what will happen? Now अब इसकी मजबूरी है कि एक साथ बेंड होने की, so इसका जो फाइनल शेप है that will be around this, like this. Okay, so bending will be like this. Getting this? Now observe this thing कि अगर ये free to expand होता तब वो यहाँ पर आता, but क्योंकि मैंने इसको ज्वाइन कर दिया है नीचे वाली लेयर के साथ तब ये यहाँ पर आ रहा है. इसका मतलब डेट नीचे वाली लेयर जो है वो इस पर कोई फोर्स लगा रही है जो कि इसको इधर खींच के लग रही है. सिमिलरली नीचे वाली लेयर इस पर फोर्स लगा रही है और इस पर कोई एक फोर्स लगा रही है. यही समझ में आ रही कि नहीं आ रही? डेट मीन्स देयर इज अ फ्रिक्शन बिटवीन टू लेयर्स. दो लेयर्स के बीच में क्या हो रहा है? फ्रिक्शन हो रहा है. दो लेयर्स के सरफेस में फोर्स लग रहा है एंड दैट सरफेस फोर्स इज नथिंग बट द शीयर फोर्स. इसी के कारण शीयर फोर्स आखिर डेवलप होता है. ओके, और शीयर फोर्स जो डेवलप होता है एज आई टोल्ड यू कि वो एक प्लेन में ही डेवलप होता है. ये भी हमने डिस्कस किया लास्ट यूनिट में. एक प्लेन में डेवलप होता है एंड एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस यहाँ डेवलप होता है एंड एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस फॉर मोमेंट इक्विलिब्रियम ये. सो दिस इज एक्चुअली द रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ दिस शीयर फोर्स. ओके, सो दिस इज अनदर एजम्पशन. क्यों हमने एज्यूम किया? बिकॉज वी वांटेड टू एज्यूम दैट द बीम्स आर सब्जेक्टेड टू प्योर बेंडिंग. And in order to assume that the beams are subjected to pure bending, that means shear force is absent in the beam, we will have to assume that every layer is free to expand and contract, because when the layers are free to expand and contract, there are no shear force developed in the beam. Getting this or not? Okay, so this is another assumption. Next assumption is E has same value in tension and in compression. That means E tension is equal to E compression, which is equal to E. As we know that E is the property of the material and we assume that this property E remains constant whether that beam is subjected to tension or whether that beam is or material is subjected to compression. This is another assumption. Okay, and last assumption is the radius of the curvature is very greater than width and depth of the beam. Okay, now what does this mean? Radius of the curvature is very large. What is the meaning of radius of curvature? As I told you that we have assumed that the elastic curve of this beam is nothing but an arc of a circle. Okay, and because this is an arc of a circle, obviously this will have some radius and some center. This circle, the circle to which this arc belongs, that circle will have some center and this will have some radius. Okay, what does this assumption says? That this radius of curvature is very large than the width and depth of this beam. ओके, व्हाट डज दिस मीन? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जो बेंडिंग है, जो डिफ्लेक्शन है, वो बहुत कम है. बिकॉज डिफ्लेक्शन जितना ज़्यादा होगा, जस्ट लुक एट दिस थिंग केयरफुली, डिफ्लेक्शन की वैल्यू जितनी ज़्यादा होगी, रेडियस ऑफ कर्वेचर जो है वो उतना ही कम होते जाएगा. तो रेडियस ऑफ कर्वेचर अगर ज़्यादा है, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब डिफ्लेक्शन इज़ वेरी स्मॉल. सो जो फॉर्मूला हम निकालेंगे, दैट इज वैलिड फॉर स्मॉल डिफ्लेक्शन, दैट इज नॉट वैलिड फॉर वेरी लार्ज डिफ्लेक्शन. Okay, so these are all assumptions based on which we will now derive the bending equation or flexural equation. Okay, now let us consider this beam, and when we are applying a load on this beam, just look at the shape, elastic curve of this beam. One thing you can observe here, just look at the top fibers. These top fibers are getting contracted. Initial length is different and the final length is actually less than the initial length. What does this mean? This means that the top fibers are subjected to compression when the beam is subjected to a vertical load, a downward load. Similarly, just look at the bottom fibers. The length of the bottom fibers are increasing. This means that the bottom fibers are subjected to tensile load when the beam is subjected to a vertical load. What does this mean? Just look at here. The top fibers are subjected to compression because the length is decreasing, and the bottom fibers are subjected to tension because the length is increasing here. Now, top fibers are subjected to compression, bottom fibers are subjected to tension. Now, there will be some axis in this beam which is not subjected to any type of stress, where the stress will change from compression to tension, and that axis is nothing but a neutral axis. If I show you the neutral axis in a 3D figure, suppose this is our beam, this is the neutral axis, this is neutral axis. Okay. Now, if I join the centroid of all the cross section, I will get an axis, and this axis is nothing but longitudinal axis. Cross section wise, this axis is nothing but neutral axis. Okay, another axis, this vertical axis is nothing but loading axis, along which load is applied, or this is also called as transverse axis. Getting this or not? Okay, so this is the neutral axis, and we are talking of the zero stress. So this zero stress will occur in whole of this neutral plane. This is the neutral axis where the stress is zero, and above this we are having a compressive stress, below this we are having a tensile stress. Okay, and this is the neutral axis. Okay, and now अगर मैं इसी चीज़ को पूरे प्लेन में एक्सटेंड करूँ, पूरे बीम में एक्सटेंड करूँ, this will now become a plane. This plane is nothing but neutral plane. Okay, so length wise अगर मैं देखूँ, then there will be a whole plane in which the stress is zero. Cross section wise there will be just an axis where stress is zero. उसी को अगर मैं लेंथ वाइज एक्सटेंड करूँ, इट विल बिकम अ प्लेन, दैट प्लेन इज नथिंग बट अ न्यूट्रल प्लेन. गेटिंग दिस नाउ? ओके, नाउ कमिंग टू द प्रूफ ऑफ दिस बेंडिंग इक्वेशन और फ्लेक्सुरल इक्वेशन. Now this is the original beam, this is the bend shape, this is the beam after bending. Now let us consider a small portion del x here. Okay, on neutral axis, let us name this as A, B, C, D. On neutral axis, E and F. Okay, now let us consider a strip at a distance y from the neutral axis. Okay, a plane at a distance y from the neutral axis. Suppose that plane is GH. Okay, now after bending, what will happen? This will be A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, E dash, F dash, and at a distance y, this will be G dash and H dash. I think the figure is clear. Now this EF is equal to GH, EF is equal to GH, and this EF is also equal to E dash F dash. Why? Because this is the neutral axis, this is the neutral axis, and at this neutral axis the length of fiber won't change because the stress acting at the neutral axis is 0. That means this EF will be equal to E dash F dash. Getting yes or not? Okay. Now this was bent in an arc of a circle. That means there will be a center of this circle. Suppose at C, the radius of this circle is suppose R, and the angle subtended is suppose theta. Okay. Now what will be this E dash F dash? This is an arc of a circle. Therefore this E dash F dash is nothing but R into theta. Arc is equal to angle into radius. So this will be equal to R into theta. First thing. Okay. Similarly, what will be this G dash H dash? G dash H dash is nothing but R plus Y into theta. Okay. Now initially the length was GH, finally this length becomes G dash H dash. So what will be strain of this GH? Strain of GH, change in length upon original length. So this will be equal to G dash H dash minus GH upon original length GH. Getting this or not? Okay. Or this will be equal to R plus Y into theta minus R into theta upon R into theta. Okay. So this will be equal to R theta gets cancelled out. This will be Y into theta upon R into theta. Theta gets cancelled out. This will be equal to Y upon R, strain of GH. Okay. And strain can further be written as, what is the strain? Strain is nothing but stress upon E. So this will be equal to sigma upon E is equal to Y upon R, or you can say sigma by Y is equal to E by R. This is equation number 1. So from here we get what? Sigma is equal to E by R into Y. Give this as equation number A. Now coming to second part of the proof. Now let us consider a small area dA, a small strip dA at a distance y from the neutral axis in the cross section. Now what will be the thrust acting on this area? The stress acting is nothing but sigma, which is equal to E by R into Y, and because the stress is acting, obviously some thrust will be acting here. So what will be the thrust acting in this small strip? Total thrust acting on this small strip is nothing but sigma into dA. Getting this or not? Stress into area, that is the total force acting. Okay. And this total force, the total force which is acting in this direction outward from here. Okay. And if I take the moment about this neutral axis. Okay. So moment of this force about neutral axis. So what will be this moment? Okay, now this is sigma into dA, or you can write it as E by R into Y into dA. Getting this? Now what will be moment? Moment is nothing but force into distance. So total moment of this thrust is equal to E by R into Y into dA into distance is nothing but y square, sorry, distance is nothing but y, so this will become E by r into y square into dA. This is nothing but total moment of the thrust acting. Getting this or not? Okay, this is for the small strip. ये जो है मोमेंट ये स्मॉल स्ट्रिप के लिए निकला है. कंप्लीट मोमेंट अपने को निकालना है, टोटल मोमेंट निकालना है, तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? वी विल हैव टू इंटीग्रेट इट इन द होल एरिया. Okay, so what will be this? So this m is equal to E by r integration of y square into dA. Getting this? And what is this integration of y square dA? dA into y is first moment of area, dA into y square is second moment of area. Okay, the total section का second moment of area is nothing but moment of inertia. So this will be equal to m is equal to E by r into moment of inertia I, or you can say m by I is equal to E by r. This is equation number 2. Okay, now from equation 1 and 2 we will get final equation, final bending equation as m by I is equal to E by r is equal to sigma by y. This is final bending equation, flexural equation. Getting this or not? Okay, where m is nothing but, जिसको हमने moment of thrust बोला है, that is nothing but, that is actually moment of resistance. Okay, this is actually the moment of resistance. Okay, or we can take it as bending moment. अब ये क्यों bending moment लेते हैं ये चीज़ हम देखेंगे, but this is actually moment of resistance. Moment of resistance or bending moment. I is nothing but moment of inertia. Okay, E is nothing but Young's modulus. R is nothing but radius of curvature. Radius of curvature of beam. Sigma is nothing but bending stress, and y is nothing but distance from the neutral axis. Getting this or not? Okay, now coming to this moment of resistance. Okay, now what actually is this moment of resistance? Suppose in a beam number of forces are acting like this. Suppose W1, W2 and so on. Okay, and we are considering a section here at a distance x from here. This W1 is acting at a distance y from here, and this W3 is acting at a distance z from here. Okay, now one thing I told you, if I draw the free body diagram of this, अगर मैं इसका free body diagram बनाऊँ, then how will be the free body diagram? One thing I told you what, that कि neutral axis के ऊपर क्या होगी, compressive stress होगी C, neutral axis के नीचे क्या होगी, tensile stress होगी T. Okay, and let's suppose इन दोनों के बीच का distance है suppose A. Okay, and let's suppose कि neutral axis से दोनों का distance same है. Okay, suppose दोनों का distance same है, और दोनों का distance अगर same है तो दोनों की stresses, compressive stress क्या होगी, same होगी, because ultimately from here sigma is equal to what, m by I into y. Okay, so at any particular cross section अगर y जैसे जैसे change हो रहा है सीधा सीधा y पे depend कर रहा है कौन, stress, because m is constant at any particular cross section, I is constant, सिर्फ y पे depend कर रहा है. Okay, तो अगर हम distance from the neutral axis same ले, then we will get what, this C is nothing but equal to T. C है, that will be equal to T, and which is acting at a distance small a, and this C and T which are equal acting at a distance small a will together create a couple. Getting this on? Okay, so this couple, this moment is nothing but moment of resistance. Getting this or not? Now the question arises कि why this moment of resistance is taken as equal to bending moment. Now again consider this free body diagram. Now this loads are acting W1 and W2 at a distance of y and z respectively. Okay, and if I take equilibrium, for equilibrium what will happen, this is suppose r, this r into x minus W1 into y minus W2 into z, this will be equal to moment of resistance. Okay, and this expression is nothing but an expression of bending moment. What is bending moment? It is the algebraic sum of all the unbalanced moment on left और right side of the section. तो हमने ये section consider किया, इसके पूरे left side का unbalanced moment का algebraic sum, that is nothing but bending moment. Getting this? तो ये bending moment हुआ and this is nothing but equal to moment of resistance. यही समझ में आ रही कि नहीं आ रही? Okay, so this m is actually moment of resistance, but for equilibrium that moment of resistance is equal to the bending moment. That's why we take it as equal to bending moment. Getting this or not? Okay. Now let us look at the distribution of this bending stress across the cross section. Okay, so we have seen the bending equation as m by I is equal to E by R is equal to sigma by y. Okay, or you can say m by I is equal to sigma by y, or sigma is equal to m by I into y. Okay. Now if we are considering any particular section, suppose this is our beam of any section, let's suppose a square section of dimensions b by d. Okay. Now if I consider any section here, any cross section here, okay, so at this particular cross section the moment will be constant, bending moment is constant, and for this cross section I will be constant. That means what is changing, what is variable? Only y is variable, distance from the neutral axis is changing. Therefore for any particular cross section this sigma is directly proportional to y, a linear variation. Okay, so if I draw the distribution, suppose this is our cross section and we have to draw the bending stress distribution across this cross section. So at y is equal to 0, at y is equal to 0, stress is equal to 0. जहाँ पर y 0 है, that means at neutral axis bending stress is equal to 0. When y is equal to maximum, that means at extreme ends bending stress will be maximum. So okay, so maximum compressive at top, maximum tensile at bottom, and variation as you can see from here is a linear variation like this. Okay, so this is sigma max, this is also sigma max in case of symmetrical beam, symmetrical cross section like that of rectangle. Suppose we are having a T section, T section is not a symmetrical section like this. Okay, so in this T section bending stress will be 0 at neutral axis, which is not at the middle of this depth. Okay, here bending stress will have some value and bending stress will be maximum where y is maximum and y is maximum at the bottom fiber. Therefore bending stress will be maximum at the bottom fiber. So the distribution will be somewhat like this, sigma max. Getting this thing or not? Okay, now clear नहीं है? This is the distribution. Now एक छोटी सी एनालिसिस मैं बता रहा हूँ, इसको ध्यान से समझो, and if you understand this analysis you will be able to solve each and every question of this this particular topic of this unit. Okay, सबसे पहले तो ये बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस निकालना क्यों ज़रूरी है? अगर मैं डिज़ाइन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखूं, सपोज आई हैव टू डिज़ाइन एनी बीम. ओके, और डिज़ाइन का एक मैंने सिंपल सा फंडा जो बताया था वो क्या होता है, डेट सिग्मा अप्लाइड शुड बी लेस देन और इक्वल टू सिग्मा परमिसिबल. ओके, और इस स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मटेरियल पूरे सब्जेक्ट में हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम अलग अलग लोड में सिग्मा अप्लाइड की वैल्यू निकाल रहे हैं. गेटिंग दिस और नॉट? ओके, नाउ इफ आई वांट टू डिज़ाइन एनी पर्टिकुलर बीम, तो मुझे क्या निकालना पड़ेगा, उसकी स्ट्रेस निकालना पड़ेगा कि कौन सी कितनी स्ट्रेस उसमें लग रही है. एंड ऑब्वियसली स्ट्रेस जो है वो हर एक पॉइंट पे, इस बीम के हर एक पॉइंट पे स्ट्रेस अलग अलग लग रही है. तो कौन सी स्ट्रेस को लेते हुए डिज़ाइन करना चाहिए, तो ऑब्वियसली मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेस को लेते हुए हम डिज़ाइन करेंगे. बिकॉज अगर वो कंपोनेंट, अगर वो बीम मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेस को बियर कर पा रही है, अगर मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेस को लेके हमने डिज़ाइन किया, उसमें सेफ है, डेट मीन्स वो बीम हर स्ट्रेस को बियर कर सकती है. Getting this or not? Okay, so we are most of the times we are concerned with the maximum stress only. While designing, we are concerned with the maximum stress only. Okay, suppose we are having any loading, any beam which is having any loading like this, for example. Okay, now if I draw the bending moment diagram for this particular kind of beam, this is a simply supported beam subjected to point load at middle. Okay, और मुझे अब इसमें अप्लाइड स्ट्रेस निकालना है, और आई शुड से सपोज मुझे इसमें मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेस निकालना है कि कहाँ पर होगी और कितनी होगी. Okay, so very first thing, sigma is equal to what? Sigma is equal to m by I into y. Okay, if this is a prismatic beam, of course this is a prismatic beam. Prismatic beam means cross section at every point is same. This is a prismatic beam, that means I हमारा constant हो गया. So in order that sigma should be maximum, m should be maximum and y should be maximum. Okay, बेंडिंग मोमेंट मैक्सिमम होना चाहिए पहली चीज, दूसरी चीज y मैक्सिमम होना चाहिए इफ आई वांट टू डिटरमाइन द सिग्मा मैक्स. ओके, तो बेंडिंग मोमेंट मैक्सिमम कैसे निकाल सकते हैं, तो उसके लिए हमको क्या करना पड़ेगा, शियर फोर्स बेंडिंग मोमेंट डायग्राम हमने देखा ही ऑलरेडी. तो इसका अगर मैं बेंडिंग मोमेंट डायग्राम ड्रॉ करूं, देखो यहाँ सिग्निफिकेंस आता है शियर फोर्स बेंडिंग मोमेंट डायग्राम का. इसका अगर मैं बेंडिंग मोमेंट डायग्राम ड्रॉ करूं, सो इट विल बी लाइक दिस. Okay, suppose this load is W, this will be W by 2, reactions will be W by 2 and W by 2. Okay, so this maximum bending moment will be equal to W by 2 into L by 2, which is equal to WL by 4. Total distance is suppose L. Okay, तो ये हमको मिल गया maximum bending moment. Okay, तो एक चीज़ हमको समझ में आ रही है that हर एक पॉइंट पे बेंडिंग मोमेंट की वैल्यू डिफरेंट है. हर एक पॉइंट पे इस बेंडिंग मोमेंट की वैल्यू डिफरेंट है. मैक्सिमम कहाँ पर है, सेंटर में है. कितनी है, WL/4 है, पहली चीज. ओके, तो सेंटर की जो सेक्शन है, सेंटर का जो सेक्शन है वहां हमको मैक्सिमम मिलेगा. अब सेंटर के सेक्शन में भी कहां पर, अगर मैं सेंटर का पूरा सेक्शन ड्रॉ करूं, दिस इज द सेक्शन ऑफ द सेंटर ऑफ दिस बीम, तो इसमें भी कहां पर होगा, जहां पर y मैक्सिमम होगा. गेटिंग दिस और नॉट. और y मैक्सिमम कहां पर होगा, y विल बी मैक्सिमम एट एक्सट्रीम फाइबर्स. इसका मतलब इस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन में, इस पर्टिकुलर बीम में मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेस कहां पर लगेगा, सेंटर सेक्शन के एक्सट्रीम फाइबर्स में. यही समझ में आ रही है. ओके, तो हम यहां से क्या कर सकते हैं, बेंडिंग मोमेंट डायग्राम से बेंडिंग मोमेंट की वैल्यू निकाल सकते हैं. मोमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया I निकालना हमको आता ही है. y मैक्स की वैल्यू हम निकाल सकते हैं एक्सट्रीम फाइबर्स पे. तो उस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे हम मैक्सिमम बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस मिल जाएगी. नॉट ओनली दिस, इस पर्टिकुलर बीम के किसी भी पॉइंट पे कहीं पर भी अगर मैं बोलूँ स्ट्रेस निकालने, तो हम निकाल सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई आस्क यू टू डिटरमाइन स्ट्रेस एट अ डिस्टेंस ऑफ 2 मीटर फ्रॉम एंड A एंड एट अ डिस्टेंस ऑफ 10 mm फ्रॉम न्यूट्रल एक्सिस, मतलब 2 मीटर पे के डिस्टेंस पे जो सेक्शन है वहां पर न्यूट्रल एक्सिस से 10 mm ऊपर मुझे स्ट्रेस की वैल्यू निकालनी है. ओके, सो वेरी सिंपल, सिग्मा इज इक्वल टू व्हाट, m/I इंटू y. ओके, तो बेंडिंग मोमेंट क्या, सबसे पहला काम क्या करना है हमको, बेंडिंग मोमेंट की वैल्यू निकालना है. सो एट अ डिस्टेंस ऑफ 2 मीटर फ्रॉम हियर, यहाँ पर हम बेंडिंग मोमेंट की वैल्यू निकाल लेंगे. m मिल गया. ओके, I है हमारे पास, y इज नथिंग बट 10 mm. सो फ्रॉम हियर वी कैन गेट द वैल्यू ऑफ दिस सिग्मा स्ट्रेस. Getting this or not? So in this way you can determine stress at each and every point of this particular beam or any kind of beam if you know how to draw the shear force and bending moment diagram of that particular beam. Getting this or not? Okay, so this is the crux of whole unit. पूरी यूनिट में हमको जो स्ट्रेसेस जो निकालनी है, अगर इतनी छोटी सी चीज समझ में आ गई तो हम हर बीम की स्ट्रेसेस निकाल सकते हैं. फर्स्ट थिंग. ओके, नाउ सेकेंड थिंग, दिस सिग्मा इज इक्वल टू व्हाट, m/I into y. Okay, at y is equal to y max, sigma is equal to what, m/I into y max. Okay, and this I by y max is nothing but z, which is equal to section modulus. Okay, or you can say sigma is equal to I by z. So sigma max, if you want to determine, then y should be maximum along with moment, m should be maximum and y should be maximum. Okay, so this I by y max is nothing but z, that z is nothing but section modulus. Okay, therefore sigma is equal to I by z. Now what is the significance of this section modulus? इस section modulus का आखिर significance क्या है? So one thing you can see from here, you can observe from here कि ये section modulus की वैल्यू जितनी ज़्यादा होगी, स्ट्रेस की वैल्यू उतनी ही कम होगी, और स्ट्रेस की वैल्यू जितनी कम होगी वो पर्टिकुलर बीम उतनी ही ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग होगी. गेटिंग दिस और नॉट? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, दिस मीन्स दिस सेक्शन मॉडुलस इज अ मेजर ऑफ द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर बीम. जिस बीम का सेक्शन मॉडुलस जितना ज़्यादा होगा, उस पर्टिकुलर बीम की स्ट्रेंथ उतनी ही ज़्यादा होगी. ओके, नाउ वी विल डिटरमाइन द सेक्शन मॉडुलस ऑफ डिफरेंट बीम्स और देखते हैं कि मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेंथ हमको किस बीम की मिलती है और क्यों मिलती है. Okay, so the very first thing for rectangle, okay, so we have a rectangle of dimension b by d. I will be equal to bd cube by 12 y max will be equal to d by 2. Okay, therefore z is equal to I by y max. So this will be equal to bd cube by 12 upon d by 2. This is equal to bd square by 6 for rectangular section. Z is equal to bd square by 6. Okay. Next, for circular section, okay, suppose we are having any circle of diameter d, small d, okay. Moment of inertia I, we know for circular section, is pi by 64 d raised power 4, and what will be y max? Y max is nothing but this d by 2. Therefore z is equal to I by y max pi by 64 d raised power 4 upon d by 2. So this will be equal to pi by 32 d cube for circular section. Okay. Next is for triangular section. The base of the triangle is suppose B and height is h, okay, and the centroid of this triangle will lie at a distance of 2 by 3 h from top end and at a distance of 1 by 3 h from bottom end, like this. Okay. Now I is equal to what? I about centroidal axis of triangular section is nothing but pi by 36, sorry, I is nothing but bh cube by 36. Okay. Y max, what is y max? Y max will be equal to 2 by 3 of h, getting this? So this will be equal to 2 by 3 of h. Now just put the value, z is equal to bh cube by 36 upon 2 by 3 of h. So this becomes 12. This will be bh square by 24. Okay. So this is section modulus for triangular section, bh square by 24. Okay. And if I draw the distribution of stress in this triangular section, so at neutral axis stress will be 0, maximum will be at top fiber, like this. Here is the stress distribution. Okay. At bottom fiber stress won't be maximum, maximum stress will be at top fiber where y is maximum. Okay. Now, okay, next is square section. Consider a square of dimension A, side A. I is nothing but a raised power 4 by 12 bd cube by 12, b and d both are same, which is equal to a raised power 4 by 12, and y max is nothing but a by 2. Therefore z is equal to a raised power 4 by 12 upon a by 2, which is equal to a cube by 6 for a square section. Getting this? Next is for diamond section. Okay. What is diamond section? Diamond section means if we tilt this square such that its diagonals are vertical and horizontal, then the section becomes a diamond section, like this. The diagonals of the square becomes vertical and horizontal. Okay. So this whole diagonal will be equal to root 2a, okay, and half of the diagonal will be equal to a by root 2. Okay. I will remain same. I is equal to what? A raised power 4 by 12. Y max is equal to a by root 2. Okay. Therefore z will be equal to a raised power 4 by 12 upon a by root 2. So this will be equal to a cube by 6 root 2. Getting this or not? Okay. Now just compare this square and diamond. You will get a very important conclusion from here. Just compare the strength because Z is nothing but a strength, section modulus is nothing but a strength. So just compare the strength of square and diamond section. One thing is clear, that the area is same. This is of A square area, this is also of A square area. So the cross section area is same. So if the cross section area is same, then strength of which section is more and why? Okay, so if we compare the strength of this square, Z square upon Z diamond, okay, so this will be equal to A cube by 6 upon A cube by 6 root 2. This A cube by 6 gets cancelled out, this becomes equal to root 2, which is equal to 1.414. Okay, so a very important conclusion from here, Z square is equal to 1.414 of Z diamond. What is the meaning of this? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? That means square cross section is 41.4% more stronger than the diamond section. जबकि मटेरियल दोनों का सेम है, अमाउंट ऑफ मटेरियल यूज्ड वाज सेम, एरिया ऑफ क्रॉस सेक्शन वाज सेम, मटेरियल दोनों का सेम है, बट स्टिल स्क्वायर की स्ट्रेंथ ज़्यादा है एज कंपेयर टू डायमंड. ये समझ आ रही नहीं आ रही? ओके, और इसका रीज़न क्या है? व्हाट इज द रीज़न फॉर दिस? दिस इज अवर स्क्वायर सेक्शन एंड दिस इज अवर डायमंड सेक्शन. तो क्यों इसकी स्ट्रेंथ हमको स्क्वायर की स्ट्रेंथ ज़्यादा मिल रही है और डायमंड की स्ट्रेंथ इसकी कम मिल रही है? व्हाट इज द रीज़न बिहाइंड दैट? रीज़न इज द ओरिएंटेशन ऑफ दिस स्क्वायर. ओके, इसमें जैसा ओरिएंटेशन है, मटेरियल जो है वो यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है. इसमें जैसा ओरिएंटेशन है, जैसे जैसे हम न्यूट्रल एक्सिस से दूर में जा रहे हैं, मटेरियल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन जो है वो क्या होते जा रहा है? कम होते जा रहा है. गेटिंग दिस और नॉट? ओके, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? नाउ कम्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कंक्लूजन कि न्यूट्रल एक्सिस से हमारा मटेरियल जितने दूर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है, हमारे पार्टिकल्स न्यूट्रल एक्सिस से जितने दूर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है, हमारा कंपोनेंट, हमारा सेक्शन उतना ही ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग होगा. एंड दिस इज द रीजन वाई द बीम्स आर मेड रेक्टेंगुलर इन शेप एंड नॉट सर्कुलर इन शेप. आप में से कोई भी सर्कुलर बीम नहीं देखे होंगे. क्यों नहीं देखे? इंजीनियरिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन में हम सर्कुलर बीम्स नहीं देखते. क्यों नहीं देखते हैं? क्योंकि सर्कुलर बीम की जो Z है वो कम है, उसकी स्ट्रेंथ जो है वो कम है. और Z कैसे समझ में आ रहा है कम है? कि हम न्यूट्रल एक्सिस से दूर में जैसे जैसे जा रहे हैं, इसका मटेरियल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन जो है वो कम होते जा रहा है. ओके, इसको इस तरीके से समझ सकते हैं कि अगर मैं इसका स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बनाता हूँ, ओके, स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इज लाइक दिस. दैट मीन्स न्यूट्रल एक्सिस में स्ट्रेस 0 होती है और मैक्सिमम जो होती है वो एंड्स पे होती है. तो मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेस अगर एंड्स पे है तो ऑब्वियसली मटेरियल हमको ज़्यादा कहाँ पर देना पड़ेगा? एंड्स में देना पड़ेगा, सो एज टू मेक द बीम सेफ. गेटिंग इट और नॉट? ओके, तो इसलिए स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट बीम जो बोला जाता है, स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट बीम इज नथिंग बट एन आई सेक्शन बीम. आई सेक्शन बीम इज द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट बीम. व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड दैट? सेम रीजन कि मटेरियल जितना न्यूट्रल एक्सिस से जितने दूर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मटेरियल, वो पर्टिकुलर बीम हमारी उतनी ही ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग होती है. दैट्स वाई आई सेक्शन इज द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट बीम. हाउएवर घरों में तो आई सेक्शन की बीम पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाती बिकॉज कंस्ट्रक्शन थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होगा उसका, बट ब्रिजेस में अगर हम देखें तो आई सेक्शन की बीम रहती है. ओके, रेलवे ट्रैक्स अगर हम देखें, रेलवे ट्रैक का अगर क्रॉस सेक्शन देखोगे तो वो आई सेक्शन का होता है. क्यों? बिकॉज द Z इज मोर, section modulus is more, strength is more because more particles are distributed away from the neutral axis in this section. Okay, so write down a very important note. The sections having particles distributed away from the neutral axis has more strength. Getting this? Okay. Okay, we will solve some question related to this topic. The first question which was asked in IES 2001. A short column of symmetric cross section made of brittle material is subjected to an eccentric vertical load P at an eccentricity E. To avoid tensile stress in the short column, the eccentricity E should be less than or equal to. Okay, so this is the question. We have this short column which is subjected to an eccentric load P. Eccentric load means a load which is acting at certain distance E from axis. This is the cross section of this column. We have to determine the value of this E such that tensile stress should be avoided in this particular short column. Getting the question or not? Tensile stress should be avoided in this particular short column. Now, the first thing, where would the tensile stress develop in this column? Okay, so let us understand this thing very carefully. Now, in order to determine the effect of this P on this column, because this is an eccentric load, okay, so what we have to do, we will apply an equal and opposite load in the axis, on the axis, like this. Okay, now this P and this P, these are together creating a couple. So if I draw the equivalent column, okay, this equivalent column will be subjected to a couple because of this P and this P. This will together create a couple, and the magnitude of that couple will be equal to P into E, first thing. And apart from this, a load P will be there. So this is the equivalent column. This is subjected to a compressive load, axial compressive load P, and a bending moment M, which is equal to P into E. Okay, and because of this bending moment, this column will bend like this. Getting this not? Okay. Now, if I look at the right side, what are the stresses in the right side of the column? So at the right side of this column, because of this P, compressive stress will be there, because this is acting compressively. Okay, so at every point along this column, because of this P, a compressive stress or compressive load will be acting. Getting this or not? And that stress will be equal to minus P by A, direct stress. Okay, along with this, we have a bending moment, and because of this bending moment, if I am looking at the right side of this axis, okay, we will have a compressive stress, and if I am looking at the left side of the axis, we will have a tensile stress because of this bending moment. Getting this or not? Okay, so because of this bending moment in the right side, we will again have a compressive, and the magnitude will be equal to M by I into Y. So this is the net stress in the right side of this axis. Axis के right side में ये हमारी net stress मिल गई. Okay, and as we can see from here that this value will always be negative, so this stress will always be compressive at the right side of the axis. Now at the left side of the axis, left side में क्या होगा? Because of this load P, again compressive load होगा, compressive stress होगी, whose magnitude will be equal to minus P by A. Okay, but because of this bending moment, a tensile stress will be acting, whose magnitude will be equal to what? M by I into Y. Getting this or not? First of all, I am trying to explain you why tensile stress will be developed in this column. Then we can discuss that how can we avoid that tensile stress. Okay, so at right side of this section there is no tensile stress, so we don't have to consider this. We just have to avoid tensile stress. At left side of this axis of this column, there are possibilities that there will be tensile stress, because this is a positive quantity M by I into Y. So we have to make this as negative. In order to avoid the tensile stress completely, we have to make this quantity as negative. So this should be less than or equal to 0 in order to avoid tensile stress. Getting this now? That's it. Okay. Now just put the values. So this will be equal to minus P by area is nothing but B into H, plus moment is nothing but P into E, by I by Y or Z. What will be the value of Z here? Z we have to determine with respect to this axis. Okay, because this is our neutral axis. The column is bending along this axis. This is the neutral axis. This will be the neutral plane. This plane will be a neutral plane. Getting this or not? Okay, so we have to determine I or Z with respect to this axis. So with respect to this axis, this Z will be equal to BH square by 6. B into H square by 6. So just put the value. So this will be B into H square by 6. This should be less than or equal to 0. Okay, and from here we will get the value of E, which will be less than or equal to H by 6. Answer. Getting this now? Okay, so answer is B. E is less than or equal to H by 6. Clear in here? Okay. Okay. Another question which was asked in GATE 2008. For the component loaded with a force F as shown in figure, the axial stress at the corner point P is. Okay, so we have this component which is loaded like this, a force F is applied here. We have to determine the axial stress at this particular point at corner point P. Okay, so what will be the effect of this force on this particular component? So if I draw this,
and if I draw the effect of this component, so apply equal and opposite force here along the axis of this component. Okay. Now this force F and this force F, this will together create a couple, a clockwise couple. Okay. So if I draw the equivalent component, so this will have a clockwise couple whose magnitude will be equal to F into L minus B. Getting this? क्या बच गया? A tensile force F. So this will be the equivalent component. Getting this? Now we have to determine the stress at this particular point P. Now what will happen? This component will bend like this. Okay, and if I want to determine stress at particular point P, stress at this particular point, because of this force F, इस force F के कारण direct stress लगेगी and that will be tensile in nature. Okay, so this will be equal to F upon A because of this force F, tensile in nature, and because of this moment M, again a tensile stress will act, but a bending stress will act this time. Okay, so this will be plus M by Z. Getting this not? Okay, now just put the values. So this will be equal to F by A. F by area is how much? 2B by 2B, which is equal to 4B square, plus M is F into L minus B upon Z. The value of Z for a square is A cube by 6. Okay, so this will be equal to 2B cube by 6. Just put the values. 2B cube by 6. Okay, so from here stress at point P, this will be equal to F upon 4B cube, just take this as common, into 3L minus 2B. Okay, just recreate, we have recreated this in the form of the option. Okay, so the answer is B. That's it. Getting this or not? Okay.
Okay, we will solve one more question. A T section is used in inverted position shown in figure over a span of 400 mm. Due to application of forces shown in figure, the longitudinal strain gauge at F registers a compressive strain of 1.5 mm per mm. E is equal to 200 gigapascal. I about neutral axis is equal to 2176 mm raised to power 4. The value of P in Newton is.
Okay, so this is the figure given. The cross section of this particular beam is an inverted T section as shown in figure. The value of the neutral axis point is given. Strain at point F is given, and the location of F is given as, this is at 250 mm from end A, 250 mm from end A, and 6 mm above the neutral axis. This is the location of point F. And at this particular point, the strain is given, strain at point F is given as 1.5 mm per mm. Okay. E is given as 200 gigapascal. I about neutral axis is given as 2176 mm raised to power 4. Okay. Now we have to determine the maximum value of this load P. इस P की maximum value हमको इसमें निकालनी है. Now what can we do? Strain at point F is given. Can we determine stress at this point? Okay, so what will be stress at this point F? Stress will be equal to strain into E. Okay, so just put the values. So this will be equal to 1.5 into 200 into 10 to the power 3 in terms of megapascal. So this will be equal to sigma F will be equal to 300 into 10 to the power 3 megapascal. Getting this or not? Okay. This is the stress at this particular point F. Now, can we determine this stress in terms of bending equation? Bending equation से भी हम ये stress निकाल सकते हैं. कैसे? M by I is equal to what? Sigma by Y. Okay. Now we have to see the moment at F. Stress will be at F and Y at F. Okay. Now just put the values. So in order to determine this, we will have to first count the we will have to first calculate the moment at F. Okay, now how can we calculate this moment at F? So for that, first of all, determine the reactions. So this Ra plus Rb will be equal to 2p plus 3p, 5p plus p, which is equal to 6p. Now just take moment at B and equate it to 0. Equate moment at B as 0. So this will be equal to Ra into 400 minus p into 300 minus 2p into 200 minus 3p into 100 is equal to 0. Okay, so from here we will get the value of Ra as 2.5 p. This is the value of Ra. Okay, now what will be moment at point F? We want to determine moment at this particular section where point F lies. Okay, so this will be equal to Ra into this distance 250. So this will be Ra, which is 2.5 p into 250. Getting this or not? Minus p into this distance, which is 150, minus p into 150 minus 2p into this distance, which is 50, 2p into 50. Okay, so from here this MF will be equal to 375 p in Newton mm. Okay, heading is not. Okay, so just put all the values here. So MF is nothing but 375 p in Newton mm. I is nothing but 2176 mm raised power 4. Sigma we have already determined, 300 into 10 to the power 3 Newton per mm square or megapascal. So this will be 300 into 10 to the power 3 divided by what will be the value of YF? Distance from the neutral axis. So distance from the neutral axis is given as 6 mm. That's it. Okay, so from here we can determine the value of P, and this P will be equal to 290 kilonewton, or you can say 0.29 meganewton. Okay, so according to options, the answer should be B. Heading this one. Okay, thank you.